And who do we have here then?
I am the editor of the underground magazine Oz, which was first published in 1963.
What sort of work did you make?
We started as a satirical magazine and later turned into a psychedelic hippie publication. Our magazine gave pioneering coverage to issues such as censorship, homosexuality, police brutality, and Australia's involvement in the Vietnam War. We regularly satired public figures. We had controversial features on sex, drugs, and criminals.
So what are you in for?
Conspiracy to corrupt public morals. They're saying I might be sentenced to life imprisonment. We made an issue of Oz called the School Kids issue after criticism that we had lost touch with the youth. So we let 20 secondary school children make the issue. They said we were conspiring with certain other young persons to produce a magazine containing obscene, lewd, indecent, and sexually perverted articles, cartoons, and drawings, with intent to debauch and corrupt social morals of children and other young persons, and to arouse and implant their minds in lustful and perverted ideas.
You are a disgrace. Who do we have here next?
I'm Emery Douglas, and I'm the Minister of Culture in the Black Panther Party.
And what sort of work did you make?
I designed artwork that became potent symbols of the movement. My images aimed to communicate the party's message to a community with low literacy rates and little experience of formal politics. I make images of empowered black people and representations of our oppressors. For example, I use an image of a pig to symbolise everyone from the local police to the president.
Get in trouble for voicing your opinion, eh?
The FBI are constantly tracking me and the party, trying to catch us out. But we know the law, we are working within the law, and they don't know how to deal with it.
Your actions sicken me. What's your name and why are you here?
Thierry Noir. I was the first person to paint on the Berlin Wall, and I painted onto it every day for 5 years since April 1984. I would say I'm a master of street art who paints the ugly parts of the world.
Ah, yes, I've heard of you. But why did you do it?
Painting on the Berlin Wall was an act of liberation. I had been living close to it for 2 years. And after a while, I started feeling the need to rebel against its oppressive stature. I decided to physically react against the pressure and domination of daily life near the Berlin Wall. So I went to the back of my house at Marianneplatz, 5 metres away from the wall, and started painting. Painting on the wall was a way for me to change my ideas, and it became a full-time job.
How did you manage to do it?
Painting was forbidden, and German soldiers were able to arrest anyone, even standing near the wall. I used 2 ideas and 3 colours to celebrate eternal youth. It was important not to paint alone and in isolated areas, or near the little doors of concrete. It was very dangerous to paint on the Berlin Wall, and I risked my life every second I was near it. Because of the East German sentinels armed with machine guns, it was necessary to paint fast. The sentinels guarded the wall night and day, standing inside watchtowers placed all around West Berlin. Instinctively, I chose simple figures, fast of execution.
So what was your message?
I never tried to give any message to the world. I let people interpret what they see in my paintings for themselves. It's funny when some people recognise an uncle or cousin when they see my paintings. I never say to them that they are wrong.
You fool. Mike Turner, hey? Where does it all start?
Started in 1991 after a Californian enforcement officer came into possession of one of my comics. And part of these reminded me of the then unsolved Gainesville student murders, which occurred in Florida. Next thing I knew, the FBI were up at my house waving it in front of my mum. And thankfully, after some forced DNA tests, I was cleared of the charges.
So how does this lead to you being convicted?
I thought I was just giving a couple of comics to a fan. Little did I know he was a police officer. He ended up forwarding them straight on to the Assistant State Attorney. He then sent me a letter about how I was being charged with obscenity, once for publishing the material, once for distributing it, and once for advertising it. I just wanted to use imagery to wake the audience up, to open their eyes to the problems in the world. I was later sentenced with 3 years of supervised probation, $3,000 fine, 1,248 hours of community service. As well as this, I had to follow out a state supervised psychiatric evaluation at my own expense, taking ethics in journalism class, and I had to submit to unannounced searches by the police anytime they wanted, just for drawing some pictures.
Get out of my face, scum. Who are you then?
My name's Shepherd Fairy, and I'm an American street artist, graphic designer, illustrator, activist, and founder of Obey Clothing.
And what is it you do?
What you may know me best for is my poster, created for the Barack Obama 2008 presidential campaign. I designed the graphics for this poster pretty quickly, within one day actually. For me, it's about not overthinking it. Instincts serve people well, especially when you're doing something that is a response to social variables happening around you. You do need to respond in the moment.
That sounds good. What happened?
Yeah, well, let me explain. So as soon as I had the posters printed, I took them to the streets and realised they were extremely popular. I managed to sell 290 within a day. With the approval of the official Obama campaign, I began distributing them en masse as a digital image and other paraphernalia. Very quickly, my poster, which was made almost spontaneously, became one of the most recognised symbols of the Obama campaign. After all this success, it went dramatically downhill. In January 2008, an issue rose regarding the authenticity of my poster. It was revealed that the photograph I based my design on was originally an Associated Press photograph of Barack Obama. I sued for a declaratory judgment that my poster used a different photograph to the one in question. However, I sadly realised I had been mistaken and tried to cover up my mistakes by destroying crucial evidence. Realising I couldn't hide from this, I pleaded guilty to the court. I then received 2 years of probation, was fined $25,000 and was sentenced up to 6 months in prison.
You criminal. Who's this then?
My name is Renaud Lozier, or Luz is my cartoonist name. I am a cartoonist at Charlie Hebdo, more commonly known for my cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. I drew the cover for Charlie Hebdo, issue number 1011, on October 31st. It was an illustration of Muhammad saying, 100 lashes if you do not die laughing. In response to victory of the Anada Party in Tunisia, we changed the title to Sharia Abdo to play on the theme of the Sharia law.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Wasn't there fire because of it?
Yes, on the night of the 1st of November 2011, our offices were burnt down by a petrol bomb. They were destroyed. We guessed it was bound to happen as we received many threats and letters of protest against us, featuring Muhammad on our cover. Even our editor, Stéphane Chauvenet, applied for a permit to carry a gun for defense, but he was not replied to. Instead, we had officers surround our office to offer protection.
And what was the most recent attack?
Shortly after our most recent issue of Charlie, where we featured Michel Houellebecq new book submissions on our cover. It came out on the same day. It was my birthday on the day it happened. I slept in and was running late for a meeting. When I arrived, people outside warned me that 2 armed guys had gone in. Then soon after I heard the gunshots. I hid down another street outside. When they left, I entered the office and started seeing bloody footsteps, and I understood later that these were my friends' footsteps. 12 people were massacred, including my friends at Charlie.
An officer asked you what happened, and you replied you wanted paper.
Correct. He asked me to tell him what I saw, and I asked him for paper and a pencil. I started to draw these little guys. We are tens, hundreds, thousands, millions, all stunned by the circumstances. We were told that we were agitators, and others said we were knights, white knights defending free speech. If we take into account the positions and opinions of the whole world, we might as well tear up our drawings. It's all over. We are just cartoonists who like to draw little characters, like when we were kids. In fact, terrorists were once kids. They drew like all kids. Maybe they lost a certain spirit of childhood that allows us to look at the world from a bit of a distance. Because that is what Charlie is about. It's all about looking at the world from a bit of a distance.